Hello there, running-ers. It's Manny again, and I am personally a week away from getting to Disney World. I know we're 8 days away from the Expo. Then we have the 5K, the 10K, the half, which is the challenge. We have the after party, which might have you might be able to go see a concert there too. So I'm excited to meet you guys there, to see you guys there, run with you guys. I'm excited for another Run Disney weekend. So I wanted to make a video about last tips and tricks, and that is going to be coming this coming Monday. So that would be the 20th, basically the day that the check-in passes come out. So watch for that video. But I always touch on running etiquette, and lately I've just been kind of touching on it. Sometimes we even have Peg Leg Pete messing us up, so he kind of helps us out. Although it seems like he has changed his ways, he's a lot better. But I wanted to do a whole video, a big video, because I think that running etiquette deserves a video on itself. I haven't done one in a while, so let's go ahead and we're going to talk about that. But before we do, if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, a like, comment down below, share this information. I love interacting with you guys. If there's something you need to ask and just don't want to put it down there, remember, I'm Manny Runs Disney on Facebook and on Instagram. It's easy to find me, and I answer every question out there. So please feel free to reach out to me. So running etiquette to me is really, really important. It's something that keeps us coming back. It keeps our experience positive, and it's not only for you, but everybody around you. So you try to do running etiquette so that you have the best experience, and of course, everybody around you has that great experience. I have actually seen, I'll use this as a guideline or a story that I have, something that happened. I still remember somebody did not follow the proper running etiquette. Somebody got hurt. I actually befriended this person at one of the hotels over there. It was Riverside, and I still remember that she was going to be doing the Dopey Challenge, and after the 10K, because of what happened, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, the improper running etiquette, she got hurt and she was out. So this is a video basically trying to help you guys out for the best experience out there, and of course to stay safe. So to me, run etiquette starts when you sign up for the run. You're gonna look at all the rules and regulations that they have. Make sure that you familiarize yourself with these, so that way you know when you're getting there, you can sit there and you're not gonna be able to say, well, I didn't think I could do this, and so forth and so on. You're gonna be able to know exactly what to do. Now, about a month before the run, we get the digital event guide, which I have the video. I'll leave it on the link below so you can see this and you can go over the whole digital event guide for Wine and Dine. I go over most of it. There's some that's repetitive, so you can at least know how to go over it. But this is going to be a really, really good guide because it gives you the timing, the pacing that you're going to be able to do, the costume regulations, so forth and so on. So there's going to be a lot of rules out there that you got to follow, and proper running etiquette starts here. So if you know the rules, you're going to follow them. So running etiquette to me, again, starts at the very beginning. So I'm going to start with the Expo. So at the Expo, we're not going to be doing any kind of running, but just make sure that you're on your best behavior. I rarely ever see this, but you know, things sell out or can potentially sell out. You get a bad callback number when it comes to the virtual queue for the merchandise, and people start getting angry. They start telling off cast members. That's beyond their control. So to me, it starts there, although it's not actually running etiquette, but it's run etiquette. So please be courteous to the cast members and to each other. One of the big ones, even if you're doing all three runs, you're doing the individual 5K, you're doing the individual 10K, you're doing the half marathon, is arrive on time. Look at the digital event guide to understand when you're supposed to be in, get there to the run, and then when you're supposed to be in your proper corral. Now that I have witnessed when somebody gets there late to their corral and they're trying to get in. So they have these big, they've done a great job. They have these big balloons, has nothing to do with the balloon ladies, and they're lettered. So A, B, C, D, E, whatever up to it is. Let's say we're gonna go up to F. So once A closes, then that balloon, it disinflates, so it'll come down and they'll turn the light off. And now you're gonna be able to go into B, and so if you get there a little bit later and you're in A, you're only gonna be able to go into B. And then the same thing, it goes all the way down until the last person starts, and it's the last corral. So make sure that you get there with lots of time so you can get there and you can remember also this, there's gonna be waves within the corral. So if you wanna get into a better wave, don't push yourself up, just get there as early as you can. If you push yourself up again, you might, drag down somebody else's experience, so please don't do that. So don't try to cross over barricades either. I have seen people try to do this. If you get caught, they're probably just gonna warn you. You do that a second or third time, then they're probably gonna call security and yank you out. So the next thing I'm gonna talk about is costumes. Now, I don't have any personal experience with costumes, but I've seen it. So what I would do if you're gonna be wearing a costume, I've gone over it during the digital event guide when I'm talking about that, is make sure that your costume is ready for the run, that it is acceptable, because one of the things you don't want to have done is them tell you you cannot run. I always tell people, if in doubt, make sure that you let them know at the expo, get a name, so that way when you get there, they don't turn you back. But you can wear your costume, you can have a lot of fun. One of the things that's taken for granted is parts of costumes fall off, or they can potentially fall off, or that morning it gets hot pretty quickly and they start throwing stuff out. Be careful with that. So be careful that you don't drop something or something that's very flimsy, because if it falls, it can hit somebody, it can trip somebody, they're gonna fall to the ground, they're gonna get hurt. Or again, there's people that just sit there and they start taking it off and start throwing it on the sides. Rarely do I see that, but again, if you're gonna be taking stuff off, make sure you go way to the side. Try to give it to a cast member. I would say give it to a cast member to make sure that it's properly disposed of and it's not in anybody else's way. Another etiquette thing that you could do once you get to your corral, if you know you're gonna be walking, especially if you're gonna be walking a little bit slower, closer to that 16-minute per mile pace, do not push your way all the way to the front, especially in the center, because the runners are going to be behind you and they're going to try to get around you very quickly. I would try to get to the right, and even if you're in the front, you're to the right, so that way the walkers will automatically start in the right. If you can't get there right away, try to get to the left, and then little by little you can walk your way over to the right to make sure that you clear the path for the runners to your left. Which brings me to my next topic, which is walkers at different paces. That happens. There's gonna be somebody walking at a 16-minute pace. Somebody else is gonna be at a 15-minute pace. There's walkers that walk at 12-minute paces, and they're gonna walk a little bit faster. So again, the slower walkers try to stay more to the right as possible. If you're gonna be passing up, it's kind of like in the highway, pass on the left. If the walkers are walking and there's quite a few of them and you're at a faster pace, then make sure you get about a human length away from them, so that way you have your own path, and then it keeps going until the joggers and the runners and so forth, and there is clear paths. So remember, this is proper running etiquette. I'm gonna reiterate this if you haven't picked up on it. Walkers are gonna stay to the right, runners to the left. And in between, there may be levels of. So walker, faster walker, jogger, faster jogger, runner. And there's gonna be places later in the runs. Usually at the starts, it's not that common. But later in the runs, there's gonna be some places that you're gonna hear caution runners. Course narrows ahead. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. It just say caution, course narrows ahead. And so you're just gonna hear the caution. So there's places where it's pretty narrow, okay? And so that's where I'm gonna talk about something else. So they do tell you in the guides is to walk no more than 2 across, so next to each other. And again, if you're gonna be walking more to the right, if you're gonna be jogging a little bit more to the left, but remember that, no more than 2. And I think that's hard to do sometimes, because when there's groups of people, and I think they kind of forget, so they're kind of all over the place. And so just remember to try to walk only 2. Once you get to a place that's gonna be a little bit more congested, walk single files. That's where I come back. It was before the pandemic, the dopey runners, and there would be, I think there was 7 of them, and they ran in perfect line, and one would drop to the back or sprint to the front, and they always ran, in my opinion, and what I saw they had proper running etiquette. So the next thing we're going to talk about is people that are going to be going to the hydration, the food stations. So people are going to be getting this. The best way of doing that, because they're usually on both sides. Some sometimes they're on one side. Get your drink and then move over. If you're gonna be drinking or be walking, at least give people a little avenue for them to be able to get their drink and move over. Also, once you get past that, you can adjust by once you drink, you throw it in the trash. Remember this one. This is also part of the running etiquette. Throw it in the trash. Don't try to throw it on the floor. There's people there picking it up, but let's be nice to them. Don't throw it at them. Don't throw water at them. That's not very nice, but what we can do is drink it. Even if we don't drink it all, look around you, give it off and stuff, throw it out and then throw it in the trash. But make sure that you do that. Don't throw it back at somebody. Don't try to spill the water without looking, because again, you can hit somebody. So another thing about drinks, because it can happen later in the runs, is if there is only a few drinks out there and you turn around and there's a lot of people out there, only grab one drink. I have seen it before where for some reason or another they're running low on drinks, people grab 2 of them and then people are without. All right, Manny, I'm gonna be running and I'm gonna have to slow down, I'm gonna have to walk. What is the proper way of doing that? So everybody knows the universal raise your hand, but people seem to forget that they just raise their hand, and a lot of times they stop and then raise their hand. So I am gonna show you the proper way of actually slowing down, stopping, whatever it is, to have proper run etiquette and not get anybody hurt, even you. So what you're gonna be doing, let's say I'm running. I am gonna look over both shoulders, left, right. I am gonna find where the clearing is. It should be a little bit more to my right, hopefully. Let's say it's a little bit over to my right. I'm gonna start coming over a little bit. I'm gonna start looking at the clearing. Once I know I'm about to slow down and especially stop, I am gonna raise my hand. So here goes the raising hand part. And I am gonna count 1001, and I should do this, 1001, 1002, 1003. Then that's when I slow down and or stop. But I make sure, because that is basically like the turn signal on a car. It's giving them notice. You don't just turn on the turn signal after you turn or right as you're about to turn. You turn it on a little bit before, so that way the car behind you knows what you're gonna do. So it's the same thing. You have just told them, hey, I'm about to slow down. Now give them time to react, because if they're coming up behind you and you just raise your hand, they're gonna have to avoid you, and it might not be something that is good for them or good for the people around you. So one thing that you never ever wanna do is just stop and turn back. That is a really bad head-on collision. I have seen where people are running, they see a character, they miss him, so they turn without even looking, they go straight back. And remember I told you that story at the beginning, that lady, that's what happened to her. Somebody turned right into her, hit her, fell down, she broke her leg, and it's not a fun thing to do. So just remember that, never ever, you shouldn't even do the other ones. You shouldn't just stop or shouldn't, signal and stuff, but don't ever turn right back, because if you turn right back, you're gonna hit them. That's a head-on collision. All right, so now you're gonna have 2 different ways that you can get pictures. The first one is gonna be character stops. So it's gonna be the way I just talked to you. You're going to slow down, look around you. Most of the time people are making a line. So it's ahead of time, people know that this is where the line is for the character, so they're gonna move over to that section. So you should be okay, but I would still look over your shoulder to make sure they're not impeding anybody's progress. Once you get there, again, you can raise your hand before. I would raise your hand before, but get in line. So now one major thing about running etiquette, because we're still gonna be running, we're still in the race, and you're gonna be taking that picture. What I suggest is that you take no more than 3 pictures, 1, 2, 3, and you're out. And so a lot of people like to sit there and they get there, and I have seen this before. I've been stuck behind these people where they sit there going like, now I wanna do this, now I wanna do this, but hold on a second, I wanna do this. Because remember, we're all being paced the same, no one is different. So if you sit there taking a lot of pictures, you're holding up the line for everybody. What I would suggest, because there's a lot of people out there, this might be their only run ever. So you're trying to think, okay, there's gonna be 4 or 5 poses I wanna do. Do them as quickly as possible. Think of them ahead of time. Don't sit there and go, okay, now let me think, hold on a second, because I gotta do another one. No, the proper etiquette, take those 3 pictures. Make sure your bib is out. That's gonna be one of the important things. It's not part of the running etiquette, but if you don't show your bib, the picture will not be coming out, because that's the way they get your bibs. And I have seen people do this. They turn to the side and they take a picture like this. Their bib is not on the side, it's in front, so that picture's not gonna come out. So make sure you get that. Once you get back into the run, go to the clearing again, whatever you're gonna do, walk or run, just react accordingly. So go to where the walking side is, go to the running side is, but there should be some clearing, hopefully there. Now the second picture you're gonna take is the motion picture, the ones that you're running, okay? And I have seen this also where people just run right in front of you and they jump, they take the picture, and then they don't leave you with anything. That's not proper etiquette. Once you see the green tents, you're usually gonna be the green tents, the photographers are gonna be taking pictures. What I always do is I call it the mini circle. It's gonna be a little circle that you're gonna run. So what I do again is I look behind me, make sure I'm not blocking anybody, or I invite them to come forward if they're right next to me, whatever it is. Then I kind of do a round thing where I'm able to get a few pictures, and I'm out. And I kind of get out, go into the middle, looking to make sure I'm not impeding anybody's progress, so I can get a few pictures and somebody else can get pictures. I think it's fun to get group pictures. And remember, anytime you do this, you bring out your hands, you're excited, you're doing this, whatever it is, there's a chance you're gonna Wazowski somebody. And I always say to people, please Wazowski me. I love being Wazowski'd. I'm weird that way, but I like being Wazowski'd. So remember, when you pick up your hand, you might be blocking somebody else. So make sure that it's a kind of a quick one, real quick, to come back and then make that little circle. Everybody else can get their picture. We also got the finish line photos, and I'm gonna go back to what I was talking about, no more than 2 across. I understand that there's people out there, I've been in these situations before, where just a group of people, common friends, they wanna take a picture, so they wanna finish together, and that's cool. I always tell people this, number one is, try to do it as quickly as possible, then disperse again, because you don't want to block anybody else's progress. You want to make sure that people can go if they want to go. But again, look over your shoulders, make sure you're not blocking somebody. I actually have seen people wait once they see a clearing, then they actually go together. That's a great idea there also. But one thing that you cannot do, so please do not even try this, is I've never seen it, but I'm sure this has happened because it's one of the rules. Somebody cannot jump out of the stands who is not a runner, and they cannot get into the running lanes. So just remember that. You have a family member, I think it's great that you want to take a picture, maybe get a selfie on the side, whatever it is. They cannot jump in and run with you. If they do that, again, there's a chance that they're gonna shame you, maybe just slap on the wrist, but they can go as far as banning you. So one of the last things I'm gonna talk about is just be nice to everybody. Be nice to everybody, including the cast members. Remember, they're out there and they're doing this for us. I want them to have as good a time, so they wanna come back. I volunteered a few years ago, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. It was a Princess 5K, and I was giving out the medals. I had a blast, and I was trying to help people have the best experience possible. But again, everybody was nice to me. I was nice to everybody, and that helps so much. And remember, they no longer have volunteers, so these are people that are being paid to be there, but they're great. They're cast members, the characters, other runners. Just be nice to each other, just the golden rule. And the last thing is, within all those confines, just have some fun. Just be out there and have fun, and realize that other people are trying to have some fun too. You can make it fun for yourself. You can make it fun for everybody if you just follow the rules. There's gonna be people that are not gonna follow the rules. I break them down into 3 categories. Luckily, the first 2 are the majority. Those are people that don't know the rules. That's why I always say share this information so that they know the rules, they know the unwritten rules too. So that's the first group, the people that don't know about the rules. The second ones are the ones that just forget. Guess what? I have forgotten to raise my hand sometimes. They just forget. They're not bad people. They just kind of like, oh man, I forgot and stuff. And that's okay. So especially if they're still at least doing something that's right, that's fine, and so forth and so on. And then there's the people that I'm glad to say this is a minority that just don't care. They're having a horrible time. They want to make it horrible for everybody. So they do that. There may be somebody out there like that. Let's hope there isn't. I don't see a lot of them out there, which is great, but those are the 3 categories, and that's basically running etiquette in a nutshell. So now I'm going to turn it over to you. Did I miss anything? Anything that you want to talk about that I might talk about on my tips and tricks video? That's coming up this coming Monday. We did have the Stitch shoes come out. This was early on for the Brooks running shoes. They're going to be, they already came out. So I'm going to be talking about them. I thought about doing it with this video and I said, no, I'm going to study them a little bit more. We're going to take a look at that. That's going to be coming out Monday. But without further ado, thank you very much for putting up with me. Create a magical day, create a magical run, and guys, we'll see you sooner than later.